Mangwalani Malelepo Fukenjani class. Welcome to Africa. Good morning. Your trusted window into the continent's most impactful headlines and stories. Today we begin in Namibia, where Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi makes a historic visit to boost strategic and economic ties. We move to South Africa, where a new U.S. tariff under President Trump threatens trade and diplomacy. Zimbabwe's Strive Masiyiwa is revolutionizing tech with Africa's first AI factory. Africa celebrates a baby-focused malaria drug breakthrough, and the BRICS Summit ignites fresh debate on African voices in global affairs. Stay tuned for the Botswana report with Rorisang Mogojwe as well, and watch us on DStv 285, GOtv 285, oneup2.com, and NTV Africa on YouTube. Keeping in mind, on oneup2.com, if you click echo, you'll have access to all of our episodes. This is Africa Good Morning. My name is Ashwin Berry. Top stories shortly.
Running a business isn't just about hitting the big milestones, it's also about handling the day-to-day. From equipping your office, to closing deals over lunch, to managing your team's expenses while they're on the go. Now, with the FNB Business Credit Card, you can handle everyday expenses with ease. Enjoy up to 44 days of interest-free credit, unlimited swipes, and real-time expense tracking, so you're always in control. Apply for an FNB Business Credit Card. Contact us today to get started. FNB, how can we help you?
Getting into our top stories on AGM. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi visits Namibia today, marking the first visit by an Indian head of government to the country in 27 years. The historic trip aims to deepen fast-growing ties between the two nations, with bilateral trade currently valued at $600 million and Indian investments surpassing $800 million. Namibia's vast reserves of uranium, copper, cobalt, lithium, and rare earths, along with recent offshore oil discoveries, make it an increasingly strategic partner for India. PM Modi's agenda includes boosting cooperation in defense, technology, infrastructure, and development. India has already established a center of excellence in information technology and offers ongoing capacity building and defense training. The countries also recently signed a major fintech agreement enabling interoperability of their digital payment systems. India previously received wild cheetahs from Namibia as part of its wildlife reintroduction program. Speaking ahead of the visit, Secretary Damu Ravi highlighted the immense potential of Namibia's natural resources and India's commitment to building a modern, mutually beneficial partnership.
Honorable Prime Minister will visit Namibia on 9th July, and this visit is also important. It's coming after 27 years, and the current president, who is Netumbo Nandi Ndaitwah, has assumed office in March this year, which is why the visit happening so early in our tenure is very useful to renew the relationship, at the same time deepen our economic engagement with Namibia. The program will have a ceremonial welcome. Honorable Prime Minister will pay homage to Dr. Sam Nujuma. There will be delegation-level talks, one-on-one discussions, and he will also address the Parliament. A very strong relationship for a very long time. The historical context, the independence struggle. We recognized Namibia long before it got independence. We took up its cause in the UNGA in 1946 and also allowed to set up a diplomatic mission in India in 1986, even before it got independence in 1990. The bilateral relations are very wide-ranging. Let me focus on the trade here. It is 600 million, marginally in favor of India. Our investments are about 800 million, mostly in mineral resources like zinc and diamond processing. You all are aware that India had taken a few cheetahs from Namibia and relocated to Kuno National Park. That phase had very successfully been implemented. In the development cooperation area, the capacity building, defense cooperation, defense training of the personnel of Namibia, the Center for Excellence of the Information Technology that we have set it up. Then most importantly, what's going to happen during the visit is the unified payment interoperability, the technology agreement being signed, have already been entered between the Central Bank of Namibia and the NPCI. So this will take forward, and that we believe is a very important development in our relationship. Namibia is a very resource-rich country. It has natural resources of uranium, copper, cobalt, rare earths in large numbers, lithium, graphite, tantalum, and all of these are of interest to us. In the recent times, Namibia has also discovered new oil fields. There again going to be a broad understanding on the partnership in hydrocarbons. Namibia is also keen to engage with us in agriculture and pharma, and we will be exploring India's low-cost solutions like the DPI, Jan Aushadhi, traditional medicine, Ayurveda. You have to understand in a broader context how important is partnering Africa. We have done the India-Africa Forum Summit 3 in 2015. We will be very soon doing the India-Africa Forum Summit 4. And in that context, engaging with Africa, with both individual countries and the AU are very important. Africa in recent time has also evolved. It's become more aspirational. It wants manufacturing to happen in the country, and it wants value addition to happen in the country. The Africa-wide free trade continent is another great opportunity to engage with Africa. So we have to keep this at the back of our mind, dealing with Africa. There are lots of opportunities, and we need to look at this with more keenness.
Moving on. South Africa faces a major economic jolt after U.S. President Donald Trump announced a sweeping 30% tariff on all South African exports, effective from the 1st of August. President Cyril Ramaphosa has condemned the move as unilateral and unjustified, calling for urgent diplomatic talks to reverse the decision. The tariff threatens key industries such as automobiles and agriculture, which previously enjoyed duty-free access under trade agreements. Trump's justification that South Africa's trade policies are non-reciprocal comes despite Ramaphosa insisting that more than half of U.S. imports face no South African tariffs, with the rest averaging just 7.6%. The decision singles out South Africa as the only African nation targeted in Trump's latest protectionist sweep, highlighting his administration's increasingly frosty relationship with Pretoria. Trump warns that if South Africa retaliates, the tariff will increase accordingly. Ramaphosa remains committed to negotiations, citing shared economic interests and the vital role the U.S. plays as South Africa's second largest trading partner. With diplomatic teams on both sides now in talks, the coming weeks may determine whether a full-blown trade rift can be avoided. Zimbabwean billionaire Strive Masiyiwa is leading a historic push to build Africa's first artificial intelligence factory in partnership with NVIDIA. Janssen Huang's the CEO. Through his tech giant Cassava Technologies, Masiyiwa has begun deploying NVIDIA's advanced GPUs in South Africa, with plans to expand across Kenya, Nigeria, Egypt, and Morocco. The initiative aims to empower African startups, researchers, and developers by providing access to cutting-edge computing power previously unavailable on the continent. Masiyiwa describes the project as critical to driving Africa's AI innovation and ensuring digital independence in the fourth industrial revolution. He announced that up to $720 million will be invested, beginning with 3,000 GPUs in South Africa and scaling to 12,000 across the continent within 4 years. The factory is designed to be a launchpad for homegrown AI solutions, offering infrastructure and support for young innovators to build real-world applications. Masiyiwa, speaking at the Global AI Summit in Kigali, said the initiative would help shift Africa from tech consumer to tech creator, unlocking economic and social potential through African-led digital transformation. In a major breakthrough for child health in Africa, The world's first malaria treatment specifically designed for babies has been approved for use and is expected to roll out across the continent within weeks. Developed by pharmaceutical giant Novartis in partnership with the Medicines for Malaria venture, the new drug marketed as Quantum Baby fills a critical treatment gap that has long put newborns at risk. Until now, infants under 4.5 kilograms had no approved medication tailored to their unique physiology, often receiving diluted versions of older children's drugs, risking harmful overdoses. With around 597,000 malaria deaths in 2023, three-quarters of them African children under 5, experts hail the approval as a life-saving milestone. The drug has been trialed with support from 8 African countries and will be distributed on a largely not-for-profit basis. Public health specialists believe this could significantly reduce infant mortality in malaria-stricken areas. Novartis CEO Vas Narasimhan called it a defining moment in global health equity, saying Africa's smallest and most vulnerable will now receive the care they have long been denied. Those have been our top stories on Africa. Good morning. Shortly, we'll be hearing from Rorisang Mogojwe as she delivers the Botswana report. But prior to that, it's the weather. It's time for us to get the Botswana report from the one and only Rorisang Mogojwe. Rorisang, dumelang, welcome to the show.
Good morning to you, Ashwin, and good morning to all our amazing viewers from across the continent and across the world. On this very, very cold Wednesday morning, we are experiencing a cold front in Botswana, but of course it doesn't stop us from doing the work right here on Africa. Good morning.
It is rather chilly, Rorisang. Let's get straight into your first story. An MP has accused police of aiding illegal land deals in Mopane.
The Honourable Member of Parliament for Mopane Motlabe, Helen Pushi-Manyene, who's also the Deputy Speaker, took to the Parliament floor and raised concern about land fraud activities that are occurring within her constituency. And she was very concerned about the alleged involvement of police officers in this, with a syndicate that is apparently responsible for this land fraud that is occurring, and not only within her constituency but across the country, because you see, that's the problem. Land fraud is actually a growing concern across the country. It often involves illegal land allocation, illegal land grabbing, as well as misrepresentation of land ownership. And some of the factors contributing to this include corruption, as well as a high demand for land, and just basically poor or weak land governance. And so the Honourable Manyene did take to the Parliament floor, and she warned that the alleged involvement of police officers not only undermines the rule of law, but it also erodes public trust within state institutions. And according to her, the continuation of these illegal allocations, despite some of the recent clampdowns, suggests that law enforcement agencies may actually be enabling these criminal activities instead of stopping them, instead of preventing these crimes from happening. And so, you know, she did note that some arrests have been made, and the illegal activity persists and it continues to threaten progress that has already been made in terms of these unlawful allocations of land in her constituency. She did point specifically to Mopane Block 1. It is a peri-urban area, and this is where it is known that often informal and often fraudulent land allocations have taken place before in the past, and so she warned that the involvement of police actually hinders some of the gains that have been made in arresting some of these individuals who are involved in these illegal or fraudulent land allocations. And not only that, but it also degrades or gains that have been made, like I said. And so she was urging or calling for intervention from the government in order to protect state land.
All right, now we are staying around the area of land and building, but this time in a positive light. Botswana has launched a housing plan to build 100,000 homes by 2026.
Target 61,000 was launched yesterday, and it was launched by the President Duma Boko. It was designed to provide 1,000 houses in each of Botswana's 61 constituencies. Now, the overall target is 100,000 houses over the next 2 years, but what was unveiled yesterday was the beginning of the 61,000 houses, which will be built within the next financial year. This project forms part of government's initiative or commitment to providing or availing access to decent housing to low-income as well as middle-income citizens across the country. The government says that it wants to provide access to decent as well as affordable housing. And according to Minister Onetsera Mkhapi, this large-scale effort is really, it indicates government's resolve to tackle the country's housing deficit while also improving the living standards of the citizens of Botswana. Now, in addition to addressing housing needs, this national housing program also aims to stimulate local economy by creating the much needed employment within the construction. We do understand that the construction companies that will be involved across the constituencies or across the country will be locally owned, will be citizen owned construction companies, and therefore we expect, or rather the government says that over 5,000 jobs will be created within the value chain development of the construction of these houses over the next 2 years, particularly in construction as well as allied sectors or sectors that are, involved within the construction industry. So the Bono National Housing Program has been widely received by the public. It is a turnkey initiative. That means that you need to have a piece of land so that the government can then come and build a house for you within that piece of land. And if you do not own a piece of land and you are eligible to apply for a housing loan and then go and purchase a house that you deem fit, that is within the eligibility criteria that anybody, or rather the person or the individual has applied for, falls within. And so it really does include construction loans as well as home improvement loans and plot purchase loans. It also provides flexible options for Botswana at various income levels. And so the government says that it is part of government's commitment to afford affordable and decent housing for the citizens of the country.
All right, Rorisang, now in your next story, Gaborone Pride 2025 has been cancelled due to lack of sponsorship funds.
Well, unfortunately for the LGBTIQ+ community in Botswana, the cancellation marks a setback really for that community, because they normally use it as a platform for visibility, for celebration, as well as for advocacy. and we understand that because it's a grassroots event, it typically relies on partnerships and sponsorships, and event organizers did cite that reason for the cancellation, that they were unable to organize or to secure partnerships and sponsorships, as well as secure resources that would enable them to put out an event that was meaningful, that was secure, and therefore the lack of sponsorships made it impossible to deliver a safe and a meaningful experience for participants. The event typically is held in the month of June to align with the Global Pride Month, and it has grown in significance over the years and has grown to be a safe space for the queer community, because remember that Botswana decriminalized same-sex relations in the year 2019, and therefore events such as the Pride event are seen as a step in the right direction in attaining human rights or rights for the LGBTIQ plus community, for the queer community. However, despite this cancellation, organizers say that they remain committed to continuing advocacy work as well as community support through other channels. While there will be no physical gathering of this particular event this year in 2025, efforts will continue to ensure that LGBTIQ plus voices are heard and that experiences of the queer community in the country remain visible and empowered.
All right, Rorisang. Now, in the last of your stories, Botswana's mayors regroup ahead of a tough WAFCON match with Nigeria.
The mayors of Botswana are looking to recover. They are heading into the fixture with Nigeria, looking to recover from their very narrow 1-0 loss to Algeria in their tournament opener. And, analysts are saying that despite them showing a solid defense, however, the mayors did miss some opportunities to control possession, and they did struggle to assert themselves in that match. However, Coach Malete has since instructed his players to adopt a calmer and more positive approach against Nigeria, with an emphasis on better decision making on the pitch. The focus has now shifted from eliminating mistakes that were made in the previous match or in the opening match, and now developing a stronger mental edge. And now this upcoming clash will be a significant challenge to Botswana as they face Nigeria, because Nigeria is well known for its pace, and it's well known for its power and its continental degree. And with only two group stage matches remaining, Botswana is going to need a spirited performance in order to turn. But whatever the case may be, Botswana are rallying behind them, and they are in full support of their mayors, and everyone is wishing the mayors a very good luck as they head into that fixture with Nigeria.
Thank you for staying with Africa Good Morning on this wonderful Wednesday. Tomorrow, Ari Hohad will be joining us with the South Africa Report. And of course, we'll still be reporting news stories headlining the rest of broader Africa. But for now, DStv 285, GOtv 25, oneup2.com, and NTV Africa is precisely where you can find us. Speaking of oneup2.com, if you go on that site and you click Echo, you can repeat this episode and all other episodes from Africa Good Morning and other NTV programs in your time, on your terms. From me, Astrid Mbedi, and the Africa Good Morning team, until tomorrow, Swelazwa Kanaka.